we're looking for properties and you're wanting to put something under contract. Before we do that, we need to know what our negotiating style is going to be. In this video, I'm going to share with you some things to think about when you are determining the negotiation style that you're going to use when you're putting a property under contract. Welcome. My name is Darson Grantham. I'm a real estate agent and investor in Des Moines, Iowa. One of the parts of buying real estate is negotiating. And I'm not talking about the sleazy car salesman-y, like, let's try to swindle them out of the deal negotiating. I'm talking about when you look at a property, you need to know some facts about the property, about the listing agent, maybe about the owner, so that you can put an offer in that is a win for them and a win for you, and you're not overpaying the market price or what's required out of the market for that property. The most effective way to handle this is per property. And I say that very specifically because with properties that are listed for one day, there's a different negotiating style for that property than a property that's been listed for 60 days or 120 days. And the reason is that one day property, the sellers have not been convinced that that property is not or should not be priced at the list price it's at. Someone that's been listed at 60 days or 120 days, the market has told them the list price for that property is higher than what it should be. What it should be is still in question. Is it $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $20,000 below the list price? We don't know. An agent will be able to help you figure that out. That property that's been on the market for one day, you as a buyer have less negotiating power because the seller does not think the property is overpriced. If you think the property is overpriced, your power in negotiating is different. If the property that's been listed for 60 or 120 days, you have more negotiating power to offer different terms. Now, most people, when they think of negotiating, they think of price. In a real estate transaction, there is the price you're paying for the property, there is the down payment, there is the inspection period, there is the close date, there's a home warranty, there's a seller paid closing cost. Those are all factors that go into play when you're putting an offer in on the property. What I want to do here is give you the opportunity to do two things. One, I would love to get you set up on a filter that meets the criteria of the properties you're looking for. If you're an investor and you're trying to find flip properties, if you're an investor and you're trying to find turnkey rental properties, or just grandma's house that you're trying to maybe live in and house hack, fix up while you're there, and then sell it or keep it as a rental in a year, please reach out to me. I can set you up on an MLS filter that instantly hits your inbox when properties meet the criteria. I've got a handful of investor criterias that I really think that you're probably going to want if you don't already have that set up. What I don't like about Zillow, which is probably what you're using to look at houses, is Zillow will hide properties from you just to get you to come back on the app later. So if they know you're really going to like a property, they actually could hide it from you on your filtering process so that you come back later. They're a tech company. They love big data. That's what they do. I'm a local real estate agent. I want to get properties in front of you as fast as possible that meet your criteria. If you are looking for multifamily only, let me know. Shoot me an email below or shoot me a text with your criteria. If you don't have your criteria, just say, hey, Darson, I'd like to get set up on your MLS filtering only duplexes in Urbandale, only duplexes in downtown Des Moines. Or if you're looking to house hack, just let me know. We'll consult with you. We'll get some filtering set up so that you're getting emailed properties immediately when they hit the market. And you don't have to rely on the tech companies to make sure that they're showing you the properties that they want to show you. I can't count how many times someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to pay $300,000 for 123 Banana Street. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy to write that contract up for you, but when are we going to close? What type of loan is it? What inspection period do you want? What seller paid closing cost do you want to ask for? Is there a home warranty? Those are all factors that go into the offer that are going to change the amount of money that you bring to the table, or the time that the property is under contract, or the time that you need to hire an inspector. All of those are negotiating tools and factors that go into play when you're making an offer. If you don't care about any of those, you're going to leave it up to the real estate agent to use their judgment on best practice. If that happens to me, I'm probably going to ask you, hey, this is what we're going to do. If you have any issues with it, please let me know. I'm going to use industry standards. I'm going to protect you as the buyer more than I'm going to give a better offer to the seller. But if you're trying to be very aggressive and competitive on the offer, but not necessarily on the sales price, you need to do more aggressive things when it comes to that offer for the seller. For example, maybe a higher earnest deposit, maybe a quicker close. Maybe you don't have an FHA loan and instead you do a conventional loan with a bigger down payment. All of those factors come into play when you're submitting offers to the seller. All of that has been negotiating part number one of making an offer. And then once you make the offer, the seller is going to come back with, hey, I won't accept your offer, but I'll accept this offer. It's called a counteroffer. And when you do that, they're going to negotiate on terms that you weren't paying attention to, didn't know, didn't think about, or they're just gonna say, hey, we won't take 300, we'll only take 305. And then you have to determine, okay, do we want to try to split the difference? Or are we just good with 305? That's stuff that you need to think about. And I would say think about that way before making an offer. I don't play chess, but in my mind, the way chess works is you want to be ahead of your competition by multiple moves. You want to have already thought about, when I move here, they're probably going to move here, right? And if they don't, I know what I'm going to do. If they move here, I know the next negotiating tactic or tip that I'm going to do or ask for. Those are all things that I personally think that we should be putting together before we even put an offer on any property. The last thing that we always want to pay attention to is, what is your willingness to walk away from this property? What is your willingness to let someone else buy the property instead of you? A really good rule of thumb of this is, if you're in a bidding war with someone else, no one wants to do it. Everyone hates it. I've done it personally. It's not super fun, but if you get your mindset right, it's not that big of a deal. What you need to ask yourself is, if I don't win this property, if I don't get the winning bid on this property, what number am I going to be pissed that I found out someone else bought the property for? For example, $300,000. I want to pay $300,000. There's someone else that wants to pay $302,000. Am I going to be pissed at myself that I didn't offer $302,000? Some people say, no, I'm not paying a penny over my number. Some people say, well, it's $2,000. Like, yeah, I would pay another $2,000, but I wouldn't go above that. You have to mentally check yourself. What is that highest number that I would mentally feel good about paying for, and I wouldn't regret someone else buying that property? And it is my job as an agent to make sure when we put that offer in, you're not overpaying for what the market would pay for that property. Meaning, what would it appraise for? Because we're not going to get into appraisals here, but if the property doesn't appraise, we go into a third negotiating process. That's not going to be on this video.